All right, folks, welcome back for another review of Young Justice, episode 24, coming out of season 4, Zenith and Abyss. This was a dope episode. So many things to talk about. I'm just going to just start off by saying Mahala Fakar is a problem. Oh, everywhere. The most clutch, got to be the most clutch character of all.
Annoying, dude. Like I'm so tired of it. They don't kill him. Like, Jesus, man. Like,
yeah, he's definitely like COVID-19. Like he just keeps showing up, and you're just like, bruh, are you ever going to go away? But literally, got to be the most clutch character in all of this entire arc. Every single time there seems to be a situation where Lord Zod and them are in some type of dire situation, he comes through. Well, except for the one time where the other person did, I forgot his name, but yeah, Mahala Fakar has definitely been kind of clutch, and I think he, either way, Lord Zod has aligned himself with folks who have one way or another has helped him out. But it is still interesting that you brought this up a couple of reviews ago that he still has a deal with Darkseid, and what does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because whatever he's in for, he's still about that. And while everything seems like it's about to collide and come to a crash course collision on this once a deserted planet, now about to be the planet with the most OP characters of all time. You got a whole new party of Kryptonians coming through.
They useless where they are right now. So
Lord Zod might got a little something for them, man. Like, hey, come this way. We'll juice y'all up real quick. We get y'all back to where y'all need to be. But Trombus, things are definitely about to get crazy on there come next episode. But talking about this episode, I throw it to you, man. Your thoughts, early thoughts about this one.
Oh yeah, like I said, I mean, you took the words out of my mouth before I could even say it, man. That he has become the most annoying character of all time. And just the strategy, like he's super like connivingly smart, man. Like he just knows what to do. He's like, why you gotta do all that? Well, we could just I can just hit this, do the different characters real quick, or put on the different do his Martian thing real quick. And like I said, episodes before, man, like Zod was gonna get what he wanted at the end of the day. Like this is all this kid has thought about. He's been planning this forever. He's gonna get his parents out one way or another, So it's just like, it's just seeing everybody, finally come together after, this whole, Connor's dead mystery, and finally getting to find out he's in the zone, and find out there's like 50 different ways you can get in and out of the Phantom Zone, apparently, whether it be magic or boom tubes, or there happen to be characters that can phase into dimensions. But so far, man, this was a great episode, and this is definitely, as you can see, it's wrapping up a lot of the loose ends here with regards to the whole Superboy story and Zod. But
yeah, I was right. I was saying I was referencing Mantis early, and like, I think what always makes a good story arc, good series, good movie is bad guys, the villains who actually are a threat. And this has been nothing but a chess match the entire time. And like you said, with Lord Zod obviously being the brains, everybody on their side has some way, one way, shape, or form proved their keep. Mantis, at one point, Mahala Fakar, at this time, just always continues to step up. And then ultimately now, Lord getting to his parents, mom and dad, they're out of the Phantom Zone and things about to go down. And even going back to Drew Zod, I mean, he said it in a very surprising way, which I'm surprised we haven't really picked up on, is that like he's been using Connor for intel. He has got Connor to pledge to the House of Zod, but he said like, nah, just been using him. I knew folks were going to come back for him, which was absolutely smart. Like it's definitely the most baitiest thing to do. Like, so no one has came here in a long time. All of a sudden he shows up and he's a Kryptonian. Interesting. Tell us more. Then he's like, oh, you got this person after you. You got this attempt after you. Somebody who and when they use the phantom projector, somebody making contact. Everyone's clearly looking for you at this point. you know. And even with Phantom Girl, you know, at a point being exposed because Connor is the biggest snitch of all time. That's why he got those stitches one way or another. You know, it's very clear everything what Drew needs to do in order to get him, his wife, and the rest of the troops out. Also, Drew's eyes like, yeah, freedom, but also, yeah, y'all stand back. Let us check this first, and then we'll come out for y'all.
Like, let's make sure it's cool. If it's a trap, why would you go out first, right? You send your minions, right?
My man is so hell bent on getting out. He does not care. And I thought that was really telling too, because yes, exactly. You are the general. Send your foot soldiers first, sir. But he's just like, man, listen, this is freedom. I'm going to roll the dice on this myself. And certainly him getting out, you can see there was a bit of like relief, but him seeing his son, not sure if he's so happy about that. I think he prioritized his freedom over seeing his son, who's objectively been looking for him this entire time. So, very interesting story within itself, right there. Anyway, let's go to the top of the episode and get down to things. And folks, definitely chime in. Let us know your thoughts about this episode as we get to things in the comments below. Starting off, I thought I was tripping in the beginning of this. I was like, wait a minute. So we got Tamar 2, who is the son of Tamare, rest in peace, who is basically a Green Lantern in training here.
He's a receptionist.
Yeah.
Which is weird to me. It's like, why does Oa have a receptionist that's like, like one big police station? Like you could just go in and, hey, I'm looking for this person. Like, why would they give out information? I don't know. I've just anything that I've read, they've never really shown that on Oa. Or maybe I've missed it. I don't know.
Well, I was going to do you one better. I mean, why is Tamar 2 or Oa and, you know, kind of in training at this front desk job, and then you got a forager out here in the mix already at the lookout, just like, yeah, you know, we got some things we got to do and whatnot. But what was interesting about this initial meeting of Lord Zod coming to a library, asking all of the questions, getting all of the answers he needed with no type of security clearance, no type of like, this seems very, you know, odd. We don't have a reading on this person and whatnot. Let's just tell them everything. Okay, whatever. Their security system is definitely flawed. And Kilowog kind of looking and like, no problem, and just kind of goes away. I don't know, man. Very weird how that kind of went about. And man, the Green Lantern clearly is out here just slipping and slacking on their security. And well, that's all they needed, because he came in there looking for where the Kaiser Thrower was going to be at. And hey, we released that baby going to Earth. Cool. Say less. We on our way.
And Kilowog was right there too. Like just kind of.
That's what I said. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, look, because he was looking like he wanted to see what the reading was going to say in suspicion, but like it was very suspicious initially because it took as long as it did. You should have been more. I mean, with him being more of a vet and been around the block a few times, I felt like that situation should have went a little bit different there. But
you know, to me, I guess they never saw Zod. Like when they were fighting, when they had that fight on New Genesis, they never really saw him. Only Tomare saw him at that point, and then they got up out of there, so they never really saw what he looked like or what he was. So that makes sense for why he was able to just kind of get in there and what he was. I don't know how he was able to fake out the reading though. Yeah, maybe that wasn't him. Maybe it was McGann's brother.
Yeah. I think, and the other thing is too, like, so y'all just going to tell people where the Kaiser Thrall is gone. I mean, that's a very significant thing. I mean, but hey, everybody knows where everything's at. You know, people were just like, well, the Phantom Projector's there, Kaiser Thrall's there, you know, there's a mother box there. You know, whatever you need, folks, just give me a shout. You know, it's right. It might as well be a Facebook status. Folks are just being able to just dump information out wherever they want. But that does take us now right to the Phantom Zone, and the team is in the mix. So they took the Magic School Bus and they landed there, and it's time for them to figure out what they got to do to get SB out of there. SB is having sort of vision issues or conflict of morale, because he's like not really sure what to believe. Are they really there or not? And then he's going down nostalgia lane, so his memories is there, but it's very clear that everything is broken as he stated. To me, I understood why they say they did not want McGann to go, because they said if it doesn't work, she'll be completely broken. But I'm gonna sit here and weigh the pros and cons, and that was a bad call for them not to bring her, because a lot of this could have been resolved.
Right.
Period. Like, and with everything that Nightwing had put together, and even with Zatanna basically saying, like, you know, this is the plan. Why don't we invite her? And he's like, no. This should have been a little bit more of a pushback to understanding like what her significance would have been if she had been there. And it easily would have said, we need to establish a connection with him just in case. No other person there. And you also have to think that's his soft spot.
I get it on Nightwing's end for a certain extent, because like it took her a while to get over that. Remember, this is months after that situation. So like you said, they wasn't 100%. And they didn't want to say anything until they had it confirmed. Like I said, I mean, you see what your boy Beast Boy going through, you know what I mean, after that whole incident, and plus, you know, whatever else he got on his brain that's been messing him up. So definitely didn't want to put that information on her and put her back to that place, because as soon as she found out, she jumped right into action. She was like, I don't care, I'm jumping right in there, no questions asked, no backup. Like, I'm gonna find him.
Right. And I mean, you have to take that into you got to put that into perspective here. Like, think about how detrimental it would have been if she had not have known, and they would have been doing all these things. And the fact that she got the information delivered to her almost like a straight shooter, it was received gently. You know what I mean? And she was like, all right, well, time to go. Time for me to do what I got to do. But could you imagine if they would have took the Superman approach of like, now I can ask y'all a bunch of questions, but I'm not going to tell y'all what I'm up to. And then she finds out, like, so all this time y'all been asking me to do this and wanting me here for that, and you're not going to tell me that y'all suspect and yet confirm that he's alive? Like, that's not good. You know, you lose trust. I mean, not telling the truth here is withholding her the ability to react in a responsible way. And I think that could have been bad. But luckily, that's not going to be an issue for them, just because of very unforeseen circumstances where she just gets the information directly and everybody can just go as planned. You know what I mean? But could have been another way. But listen, this is the other big thing with the issue. With the lack of communication here has also caused major issues, I would assume, going forward. You hear Nightwing and them saying, we need to close that boom tube because we don't know where we're going and we don't want any more of them to go out.
Right.
Also, did you realize that your team is on the other half? And if you went there, you could actually save them and help and establish what you need to do on an all forefront of everybody together. There's so many different pockets of information of what everybody knows, and yet they're not all connecting, which I think is very good for like the series and whatnot. But for them as teams, it's literally like there's 3 to 4 different teams trying to operate on the same plan, but no one's communicating. And that we know the show is going to resolve in a positive way of some sorts, but right now, maybe. Maybe I'll say maybe, but like right now, it's definitely not like something I'm willing to like down that mountain, because like this doesn't make sense. And this was the biggest example of them saying we need to close the boom tube, but like also Superman's right there. Also, it's the idea that like your biggest cards to play with Connor, y'all should have been willing to do that. You're going to the Phantom Zone where you know Kryptonians are. Why didn't y'all include Superman off break? If there's one thing I know, if I'm going to war with a Kryptonian, I am absolutely pulling through with Superman. I would have said, all right, well, we need Superman, we need Phantom Girl, and whether they can have Phantom Girl or not, they absolutely could have had Superman. That's not even the question. They should have definitely said McGann, and that would have been a wrap. You show up, pull up there, and roll out.
In this version, like in this universe, this Young Justice, Superman has no knowledge of the Phantom Zone. He's never encountered Zod before. And as we know, you know, in other stories, Zod is like one of the earliest things that he comes up on. So he, you know, to bring him made absolutely zero sense, not knowing what it would do to him, you know, whatever. Why the hell would you show up to come fight? They just told you the Red Sun was out here, bro. What was you going to do? I was sitting here like he's talking about, oh, I'm feeling kind of weak. Yeah, you knew when you was coming down.
Bro. Like, listen, Black Lightning, I was like, okay. I forgot you leading it up right now. Aquaman is back in the mix. Right. When he said Aquaman hold the fort down, I was like, bro.
Yo,
wrong call. You take Aquaman, you leave Superman. Like
That's wild, man. Like
For real. Sometimes I really do think that, like, I mean, Black Lightning probably was like, well, they got me here, so we're good. And I know he's feeling himself, but like, bro, understand that Superman is the alpha of all of y'all at all times on any given day. Remember that, okay?
Essentially, I mean, their plan was like, yo, these Kryptonians come out, we essentially are just fighting humans at that point. So not knowing, there was a setup because Phantom Girl, dumbass, like she just like, yeah, let me tell you the plan real quick. Nobody suspects otherwise. Let me tell you everything we're about to do. So here they come with the setup, and of course, them coming down and reactivate the Kaiser Thrall, which really sad story that they just kind of zoom through real quick, where he was one of the kids they picked up from previous season, and they did took his brain out and put it in a box. I'm just like, oh man.
Very nicely said. They ripped his brain out and put it in a box. So it's human. The boy was 11 years old, was murdered. He was about to say sex trafficked, but he was trafficked.
Metahuman traffic.
Apocalypse. Yeah, metahuman traffic. And yeah, he became something powerful, but yet, I mean, like, it's a sad story, like you said. I'll come back to it in a second. I was gonna bring up something you said, and you just ran through it so quick, it made me forget. What was it about? Was it about Superman? Was it about Black Lightning?
Superman coming down to the red planet, or just on the red sun, or
the communication with Phantom Girl.
Right.
I noticed how they saw Superman looking at it, but he did not react. And it's because we still don't know what his intentions are. What is he up to? But if anybody could pick up that this may not be who they are, because we all know it's Mahala Fakal doing what he does best. Again, coming through clutch. I would assume Superman, because of his hearing, could possibly pick up on a frequency description. Kid Flash being one, also knowing, sort of his lingo and his style. I mean,
knocked out. He was dragging his body.
You know what I mean? Like, there should have been something, and the Superman figured this out. Does he eventually realized it? And Superman's not Batman, but Superman does at some point be saying like, I knew it. I didn't say that.
Superman doesn't lie, but he's not saying anything either. So which leads me to believe that why he can't say anything is a big disruption to the future in the timeline or whatever. And I think that is going to play a big part going forward into the show. And like I said, we're going to see that resolve obviously later on. One of the reasons why the Legion is there in the first place, which we know was to protect Connor, because that he was the inspiration for why the Legion started in the first place, which was weird because Superman is their actual, but it's even here that. So
yeah, absolutely. But yeah, going back to Kaiser Thrall, as we said, Danny Chase, because Miss Martian was able to establish a connection to it, but then also to him, and just a kid, he's like, it's all right, it's not your fault. He's kind of made do with what happened to him, but he's like, I'm glad y'all can see me. Kind of made me feel some type of way. I was like, damn, that's kind of sad, man. My man just, and his abilities does hurt him, and then the other task at hand, would then be more detrimental to him than anything. So, and they're aware of this, and McGann now with the connection can understand exactly what he's feeling and what he's going through, but he's willing to do what he can in order to help. This is almost like a sacrifice. This is definitely like a swan song for him at this point. And it's sad because he kind of did make do with it. It's like, hey, it's not your fault. Like, and they were very, empathetic, like, man, like, we feel for what happened to you. We wish we could have did something, but it is what it is.
You think they would have done this type of story 10 years ago, like early on in the series, like just talking about kids getting meta trafficked and them killing the kid and putting them in? You think they would have did that? Because you remember, if you really watched that first season, it's very kid friendly. Like we've said.
10 years ago when the show came out. No. But I mean, we already established that this show's matured.
Right.
It matured with its audience. So like for us, I mean, when you look at it, I mean, and the metahuman trafficking arc was dope. I really liked it, and it did have, you know, so to say, likely ramifications about the vast amount of kids who were being, you know, kidnapped and trafficked for whatever reason, sold and you know, for all sorts of different purposes. I'll just leave it at that. So like, it's an interesting tweak to a story and how they make that exist in this world, and I was digging it, you know, but yeah, and I think that's why, like, to feel a certain way about this is truly, I think, within the writing, is to say, like, you know what, it's just not a story to this kid that you just like, oh well, but you kind of feel something, because it's like, damn, it's 11-year-old kid that was kidnapped, trafficked, and brain ripped apart, and then, you know, and there we have it. But to your point that you said earlier, Mahalo Vakal said, okay, cool. Your story, yeah, fuck that. And this got dude out of there. Like, didn't even give him a moment to shine. Just got him up out of there, erased him, and now I got control over.
I'm so tired of that dude, man. Yeah, McGann could have took him out like 20 episodes ago, and we would have been done with this. Like, come on, he's played such a vital role, and just slamming his way with Darkseid and everything else, which still hasn't gotten resolved. But like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just so tired of this guy. Hope he get back.
I will say this though, I do appreciate the conversation between so I guess I should put some respect on his name right now because now he's gone. But I do appreciate the conversation between Danny Chase and Phantom Girl about him establishing that he can locate the Phantom Zone by frequency, and Phantom Girl's like, well, I don't communicate in that language. You know what I mean? That's she didn't say proprietary, but she basically said like it's useless information to me. Right. So I can't do anything. And I thought that was interesting because that's a little bit of a should I say like that's a little bit of an advanced bit of storytelling there, because you easily could have just said, it doesn't work, I can't do nothing with that, but understanding that their powers are different, so it doesn't actually read to one another, which was really dope. And I also really loved when McGann basically suggested, well, why don't we Neuralink and then try to do it? I can lock on the Connor and see if that can work, and for that to not been successful, I thought that was really dope as well too, because as much as I like a problem and a solution, I very much love problems that aren't easily solved.
I love when you know, cartoons give their show like rules, like even this logic makes sense, that didn't work, you know, not just the MacGuffin of the show, just that's not gonna work. So like you said, I do appreciate the breakdown of the different methods. I'm pretty sure fans were probably thinking of they probably could have used, and it didn't work. So I definitely can get with that.
Yeah, because on the other end, the things I hate are when, you know, villains establish what their whole intentions are, and then next thing you know, it gets transformed to, I just really hate that person, and then that's just the whole arc. You know what I mean? It's like one minute you were you say what?
The Incredibles was like, you're monologuing, get caught off guard.
Yeah, right. So it's like one minute you're like, well, I want to cure you know, poverty in the world, and next thing you know, you're just like, yeah, I hate Tony Stark, he's just the worst person. Like, it's like, I hate stuff like that. Or on the other end, where you have like a strong villain, and then the good guy just powers up more and more and more, and then they win. And it's just like, okay, yeah, that's just, you know, whatever. But I do, like you said, I love the explanation of things and the breakdown of the different philosophies of the powers, and why with this challenge ahead, these seem to be very easable solutions that one may think from the outside looking in just doesn't work. So that was really cool. Where do we go next? I know what I wanted to go to next. Listen, when when General Zod had the conversation with Nightwing, and that was really interesting. Instead of just fighting, they want to talk about things. They want to figure out like civil individuals. So I was like, I like this. We're gonna talk it out instead of just throw hands, right? I ain't gonna lie, man. For a minute, I felt very bad for General Zod. I said, this dude has been dealing with prejudice his entire life. He like, all right, so we did our time, we're free to go. And then there's like, so we've done our time.
I love that pause. They like, okay, so that's what it is, huh? You know, you ain't gonna let us out. They're like, oh, okay. They and then here comes Mr. Connor. Oh yeah, they know when you get out, you gonna get these powers. Like, come on, bro. Like, why would you tell them that?
But
like,
see, like that's legitimately a prejudice because you're thinking because of who they are, how they're gonna react. And I'm like, oh, he has the right to turn up right now.
Like, they've been like, yo, we get out of here. We about to go off. You know what I mean? So
I don't know if that's been established that they're saying they're going. I mean, listen, now that's why I'm saying his freedom, I think, means more than him reuniting with his son, because you hear Lurzad like, hey, we're taking over the galaxy, and he's just kind of like, all right, but okay, I guess. Like, can we breathe? Yeah, and again, I think, like, you know, that's why I'm saying, like, the prejudice that he's dealing with from Nightwing and them are just like, yeah, okay, you getting out, we know you're going to start wrecking shit. And to me, it's like, y'all don't even know him. Y'all disrespect him because he's a Kryptonian, that because he's going to have abilities, and you know, could be in a whole army of Superman, should we say? Right. That is definitely a not just a national security issue, that's a global galaxy issue if it's not contained. And y'all already thinking negative about a person before you even gave him a chance who's already did a bid. I mean, it's like, you're guilty. You're guilty before innocent, and you're guilty even if you were guilty and did your time. Like, it's just, you're forever guilty. I was like, you know what? That's kind of messed up. But on the other end, I gotta love Orion coming through with the mother box, and he had a plan. First of all, before he talked about his plan, my man was like, you know, if we had a sphere from Rocket, that would really help. And my man was like, I was like, oh, that's my man Babe. That's my man Babe. He crushing on her a little bit, bro. Like, he definitely had a relationship. Huh?
That wasn't established.
I don't care about that. Orion don't give a fuck about Amistad and whoever her dude is. He fucked them kids. And my man literally lobbied for her in the most unnecessary reason. There's no reason they needed her. But I get it, probably would help Superman. But at the same token, it's like, we had her. We could surely use a sphere right now. But I was like, nah, bro. You out here lobbying for yourself. We know exactly what that's all about. Y'all had y'all moment, and she found herself, and you found yourself, and she's able to help you control yourself, and you helped her get back to her family. So you're a little bit heartbroken over that because
shoot a shot.
Before that, she was like, "Yo, I don't know about this mom life, bro. Like, that shit's kind of whack. I'm about to stay on New Genesis and do what I got to do." But It's also interesting that because of the Green Lantern treaty, this is why he came to do what he had to do. What is your thoughts about that?
The treaty itself?
About him volunteering the mother box because of the treaty. He said, per treaty agreement, this is why I'm here.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's not a character that typically gives a fuck about anybody outside of, you know, New Genesis or whatever. So, I mean, I don't know if like New Genesis or like mother boxes were like banned from being used on Earth, you know, per the treaty. They don't really get into the treaty, like, and what like the details were exactly, because that's kind of glossed upon because of that whole bombing situation. So they kind of like skipped through it and what was going on and kind of the rush to get the Phantom Zone projector and everything like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm happy that he's involved in, you know, any way possible. It's weird, this like connection he has with the mother box that's able to like calm him down and cause him from going freaking dark side berserk. So
it's a little bit of a both sides thing. I think it's part mother box, but also part Rocket. I think she was able to help him kind of establish it as well too. That's why he's like, listen, it's literally the Hulk and Black Widow situation, if you ask me. But yeah, and well, to my point, by asking that, it's like, it seems like there was no sense of morale in terms of like, hey, we need this for this reason, and okay, cool, that makes sense. Outcome.
Right,
much like Metron, where Metron's just like, listen, forget all this beef that we got issues at hand. Here's this and that, and we need to do this and that. Orion kind of showed up like, well, I'm only here because we got this treaty going on, so here's that, and where my boo Rocket at?
Some of that black magic.
Hey man, can't blame my man. He ain't never known it till he had it now. Now he off the hook.
You the only one that can calm me down.
But but he has a masterful plan where he says, "Listen, there's a bunch of Kryptonians in there. We don't need them on this yellow sun. So therefore, I found this very deserted planet in Trumbus, and
Genius.
we boom tube there, and then we open it up there, and they get there in case they try to try anything. And so yeah, but because Phantom Girl ran her mouth and got the location given up quickly." You know, his good plan also was quickly resolved or dissolved. So there's that. And like I said, the episode was so dope and everything is all happening all at once. You know, everybody's now on Trumpets. You have Superboy coming out, and his scars have clearly affected him. It's because he's say what?
It looked like that hurt real bad. Like,
yeah, because he's already was in a dying state and sort of, should we say, like preserved on the Phantom Zone. But you know, when you come back, then things open back up, as we saw with Phantom Girl with her hand. Doesn't help that he's also on the planet that's not helping him with his power. So what can you do? And none of them could have accounted for that except for Phantom Girl, who probably knew that, but they wouldn't have had a problem with also getting him back somewhere instantly because they could have boom tubed it away. So but also they had to realize that there was a possibility that they knew an army was going to come, because if he was just so willing to come, then they would have already had him. But McGann was sort of going to be the person to make this all happen. And as everyone has been saying, his sort of allegiance to the House of Zod is creating an anchor to the Phantom Zone. And now that she established a connection, he's off some other like, oh, if I want to hurt her, so I can't come. I'm sorry. At this point, leave this dude, bro. It ain't even worth it at this point now. Y'all like 0 for 4
for one person.
Yeah, for real. And it ain't just worth it. Unless you go and get Superman to go through there and come out here, strong arm him and say, all right, bro, you got to come now.
I mean, again, like, Superman doesn't know how the zone works, so he just would have been useless as everybody else in there.
Yeah.
And plus, he's already targeted a hate target for Zod as possible, because they don't mess with the L House at all. So,
but I think it still would have been more of a conversation. I mean, I don't know. I mean, we know traditionally that there's hate, but I don't think, understanding that, I think the landscape is different considering the intel that General Zod has now. It's going to be interesting with their conversations, like another Kryptonian, from another house. Haven't always been on the best of terms, but at the same time, with his father and what General Zod thought about the preservation of the world, they all lost something. Right. So it's just a matter of them not knowing each other. What is that conversation like? If they're able to kind of link psychologies up together, maybe they can work something out. But we all know traditionally how this is going to go. But I would like to see something a little bit different, and that could be something. I think it's so predictable to say, besides General Zod's wife, who we clearly know is a problem. It would be interesting to see if there's any.
Giving Rocket them hands, boy.
They watched that whole the whole House of Zod washed them instantly. They had nothing for them. Even the little kryptonite stunt, which was dope.
That was stupid. You're like, oh yeah, that kryptonite's gonna hurt you. Like, why would you?
Why not though? Why not? You. I mean, he never been there either. So like, why not? And it was worth noting that he brought it because he was thinking ahead, but. It's just a learning lesson, as they should have known, as they should have did. They should have went back and regroup, recollect, and figure it out. Instead, they just went over the mountain and lived on the back for whatever reason. So,
well, we're coming to the last few here, and it's been a couple of things that's been in the background that we still haven't got any resolution to, and two of those things have been Darkseid and Savage.
Yeah.
So, and I know they're good. I know they're going to resolve this Nightwing saga. Well, the Zod Nightwing saga, but it's also leaving open, the setup for the next season as well. So I mean, I'm curious as to, obviously we got a new season, but each one of these seasons does resolve like a story arc. So if they were to end it, it's like, okay, this is it. So
yeah.
Definitely, clearly, I want to see, because this is going to be all out war at this point. I want to see what happens if we get to that point.
Yeah. That'll do it for the review, folks. Let us know in the comments your thought about today's episode. Let us know the things we got right, the things we got wrong. Just interact with us. We don't care. We like the engagement no matter how it comes, as long as it's positive. But this was a great episode. We can't wait to be back for another review next week. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in for this one. And until then, folks, we'll see you later. Be safe. Peace out, y'all.